Good morning to all. At the outset, I would like to thank the Society for Indian Ocean Studies for taking this initiative in organizing this webinar in a virtual form. And I also like to thank the panelists and the distinguished speakers, participants for being part of this very important event. Uh, and in particular, I'd like to thank Ambassador Sudhir Devre for persuading me to be here today and be part of this important topic. I'll take you through briefly about the how Ministry of External Affairs is looking at the whole concept and the regional cooperation. Of course, we all are aware that India shares a long coastline, and it is surrounded by an ocean and seas, two seas, which actually makes the our prioritization very important in terms of where we look at the blue economy and the region. Prime Minister, of course, has articulated very clearly in this concept of Sagar, but goes beyond that when he announced that Indo-Pacific Ocean initiative, which was launched around that time. So, which is emphasizing on the regional cooperation in the Indo-Pacific region. I think the thinking in the Ministry of External Affairs was also evolving in the last 2 decades. In recent times, you might have seen how we've been actively involved in ASEAN, the Look East policy, now the East Act East policy, then you have the BeamSTEC, then the IORC. All of this actually gives the impression also a solid foundation for us to be active in the Indian Ocean region and take this concept of blue economy forward. Within the Ministry of External Affairs, there are two divisions have been formed. One of which is the Indo-Pacific division, and the other one is the IOR region, the Indian Ocean region countries. So we are looking beyond the immediate neighborhood. That is South Asia. We are now redefining as extended neighborhood, which also includes countries in the Indian Ocean region. So that is basically a part of our strategic thinking in the Ministry of External Affairs. We all know that the ocean, the realization of the potential of the oceans has been limited for many decades. Also because the technology has not evolved till now, and is still evolving. Our understanding has been confined to perhaps the marine resources, meaning the oil, the navigation, the tourism, and the fishing. But I think it's much more and beyond. Now we are talking about the deep ocean mining and minerals, extracting minerals, energy in a different form, the hydrates, the gas hydrates, and the blue hydrogen concepts, the tidal energies. All these are now beginning to have a very different understanding in most economic ministries and for the economic growth of the country. Technology of late has also revealed so much that is there in the oceans. And which is why it brings us this topic of today's topic, very important, the Marine Spatial Planning. The satellite mapping apart, the drone technologies, the chief has mentioned about the hydrographic data that is there. All this revealed to us the richness and the wealth that exists. But we also need to understand that the regional cooperation is extremely important, even for the national strategies for the blue economy. Why? Because many countries share common borders, and which is why you require and you need common approaches, regional cooperation, collaborations, conservation, exploration, because these are moving beyond your territorial waters into EEZ. And sometimes, and very often, the water borders are actually very difficult to define. They're integrating at many points. In the context of the regional cooperation in the Pacific region, of course, security has been primary, and it's very important for the navigation of trade routes, and freedom of navigation is very important. But I think there's another element to it which we need to develop, and we all need to think how we can enhance the economic cooperation in that context. So economic integration is an important part of, should be part of the important part of this strategy. Investments, trade, technology, openness. We have seen this during the COVID crisis, how vulnerable countries have been because of medicines not being able to reach, assistance not being able to reach. So this resilience of the supply chains is an important element that we need to be looking at. Sharing of the success. is again where India can come in to assist many countries in the region. The connectivity is very important in the physical context of it, but I think digital connectivity is a very important part, because we have done a lot in that area, and our experiences can be useful for many countries in the region. Uh, we can think about the Aadhaar, the tele-education, the telemedicine concepts, the e-governance concepts, how we can connect with the regions in the countries in the Indonesian region. In the same way, it leads us to another area of capacity building, to which again the Minister of External Affairs has been very, very strong. Through the ITEC, we have enabled many countries to use this capacity building training to understand how countries can cooperate and how can learn from each other. I think in this context, we would like to extend the ITEC's training programs through the society for Indian Ocean Studies, to the extent that is possible. We use these ITEC scholarships to enhance the capacities of the countries in the region. It brings us to another element of what's going on in the multilateral context. Today, the oceans for sustainable development is a widely recognized idea, a strategy by the international community. From the Rio summit to the SDG 2030 in 2015, this has been singularly a very strong theme in the multilateral negotiations, be it in the IMO, in the UN, in the UNCLOS, FAO, UNEP. All these ideas are cross-cutting. They are coming up again and again in the discussions, which is actually calling for nations to have a common approach to sustainable development and growth. And this is where I see the role of India. We need to be more forward-looking in driving the agenda, and not only for defending our own interests, but also articulating the policy that is yet to evolve. In the context of the blue economy, their policies are still yet to evolve. And that is where we need to have coalition of like-minded countries and develop a strategy so that while we are defending our interests, we are also expanding the scope for other countries to make use of these new emerging ideas in the ocean development and technologies. One of which, again, I can very clearly tell you from my past experiences, is the fisheries negotiations that is currently ongoing in the WTO. There are many issues there. The IUU concepts, countries that are overfishing in the regions beyond their territories and to another regions, and exploiting the marine resources, which is detrimental to small island countries. And there is, again, we can forge a common policy, common approaches in the WTO negotiations. Of course, there are many challenges to this very concept of the blue economy and the marine spatial planning. The challenges are in terms of countries over-exploiting the resources, not only the fishing stocks, but even the marine resources that are there. The coastal erosion is another problem that we need to have a deeper understanding and support and cooperation from the country. Marine pollution and waste, that is a big debate and discussion that's ongoing around the world. I'd like to summarize that in the days to come, we will see that as the population grows, and according to the UN reports, by 2050, the world population is likely to reach 9.6 billion, which means the pressure on the land is going to be so enormous that it will naturally lead to the oceans. The tapping of the resources of the oceans for the livelihood issues is going to be increasingly growing there. So the fish consumption will likely to grow by 2/3 by 2030 itself. The shipping activity is going to be very, very hectic. The shipbuilding, the port development, all this brings us to this debate as to how we ensure that the human activity is compatible to the principles of sustainable development and values. And which is why this idea of marine spatial planning is so important for us. And we need to reinforce this in the policy of the government, in all the departments that are connected with this. Because many of us at an elementary level, and many of us in the government also on a transferable job. But if we try to bring this concept again and again into our thinking and economic planning, then we will be able to have a broader understanding for the good of our country. I thanks once again the Society for Indian Ocean Studies for giving me this opportunity, in particular the Ambassador Devre for putting me here amidst you. And I'm still on a learning curve, and I would like to learn from you more as I go through this morning session. Thank you very much.